It's Yvonne back to do your bonus read. We're going to use the Supernatural Tarot for this reading. Somebody asked me yesterday, was it the Supernatural Tarot? And yes, it is. It is. I usually announce at the beginning of my readings, but I think that a lot of people miss that because they're waiting for the reading, so they're probably full of anticipation rather than focusing on what I'm saying. Okay, let's see what's going on in the bonus world. Okay, we're ready. Alright, so we have the Hermit card coming through. The Hermit card does represent the sign of Virgo. As an energy, the Virgo, I was going to say, then the Hermit. The Hermit is a card that talks about taking time out to go deep inside for self-reflection. It is an energy of sort of escaping from the world to really have time by yourself, to make sure that whatever you're doing, thinking, whatever it is here, you are doing what you need to be doing to make either a decision or just to see how your life is unfolding, and just looking at what's gone past, what's to come, and choosing to make sure you're doing what you need to be doing. It's really a card of healing, deep, deep healing, where you sort of separate yourself from other people to be alone to do that healing. But it's a very deep, self-reflective energy. All right, so we have the Wheel of Fortune coming through, and the first thing I feel is like there's either been a really big change here, or maybe somehow or another you are bringing in that change by changing something about yourself, self-reflection. You may be completing a cycle. So it may be that you are doing some deep reflection over your own patterns or over your own experiences to really finish out some sort of karmic cycle here with the Wheel of Fortune. Let's just take another card, because I feel like you're closing something here. You're like giving yourself time to close something. The Seven of Wands is here. Okay, with the Six of Wands. That's the card of victory. It's like you're fighting for something here. You're fighting for a win here. What I feel like here is maybe there has been some sort of occurrence or some sort of energy of something happening that you are thinking about how to approach, because you want to come out on top here with the Six of Wands. It is the energy of the Hierophants here. All right. Maybe for some of you this is more work related here. The Four of Wands is behind that too. So we have a lot of cards that talk about stability. I feel that this is a much deeper thing than what we're seeing here though. It's like you're fighting for something within yourself to bring about more stability. It's like you've realized some sort of pattern that you've been doing, or some sort of pattern you've been going through, some sort of way of doing things that you have perhaps realized, and you're taking time out to understand that. You know, sometimes we have patterns where we don't really see that we're doing something. We may not really sort of consciously understand why we do things a certain way. And I often talk about the story I read about the woman with the leg of lamb. And when she was cooking the leg of lamb, she always cut one side of it off. And somebody said to her one day, "Why do you do that?" And she said, "That's what how my mother cooked the lamb." And they said, "That's really strange." And she said, "Well, my mother always did that." They said, "Well, let's give your mum a ring and ask her why you do it." So she rang her mum and she said to her mum, "Why do we always cut the end off the lamb before we cook it?" And the mum said, "I don't know, darling. That's what grandmother always done. That's what your grandmother always done." So the pair of them then rang the grandmother and said, "You know, we both cut the ends off the lamb like you did. Can you tell us why you did that?" And she laughed about it. She said, "Because my oven was very small and I couldn't fit a whole leg of lamb in the oven. So I have to cut the end off it to fit the lamb in." But it carried on through generations and nobody had really understood why that had happened. So I feel there's a lot of times that we do things purely because that's what we've been taught, rather than really understanding why we're doing them the way we're doing. I feel like for some of you here and whoever I'm speaking to, I feel like somehow or another you've sort of come across something you've been doing a certain way for a while, or you sort of discovered something about yourself that somehow, it might be that you sort of get really stubborn around things. Maybe you fight for things, or you go for things that really, you go for them because of the challenge rather than wanting them, that type of energy. So there's very much this sort of feeling that you're taking time out to understand a certain pattern or a certain way of doing things. And perhaps you've repeated the pattern again, and that this time you've seen yourself do it. This time you're the observer. You've understood how to see how your life unfolds or how you do things. Because there's this real feeling here that you've seen something for the first time and gone, oh my goodness, now I understand why that happens. Sometimes, it could be something as simple as people pleasing. You may have always felt the need to please people. Always do the right thing. What a lot of people don't realize is people pleasing is a trauma response. So what's happened is in your childhood you felt that you have to help others. So it could have been the way your family taught you. You could have got into trouble if you said no to people. But it served your parents in a very sort of warped way to have you always subservient. And then what happens is you avoid conflict. You go through life trying to avoid conflict with people. You don't want to say no in case it causes an argument or it causes a fight. And you might keep repeating that pattern. But then one day you think, I've just done it again. And I've said yes to someone when I didn't want to do it because I didn't want the conflict. So there's very much this energy of avoiding conflict with that sort of situation. Whatever it is here, you're going through some sort of rebirth here because the Judgment card is coming through. So whatever it is you're questioning, you may be questioning the way you are in relationships, you may be questioning the way you are in jobs, repeating the pattern. I often talk about, the bullying at work, how many jobs you'll walk away from before you start to understand the bullying is because of the way you're working, not the way the other person's working. But we always think of the bully as the bad person rather than looking at ourselves and going, well, hang on a moment, there must be some sort of behavior I'm doing here that's encouraging these people to bully me. Not necessarily a bad behavior. You might think you're doing all the right things, but maybe it is in your own way manipulative. I mean, if you're trying to avoid conflict, maybe somehow you're trying to manipulate situations for your own good. So there's something very, very, I don't want to say rewarding, but it certainly makes us feel better about ourselves when we're doing things a certain way because we've been doing them that way for a really long time. So when we start to realize that we're doing them in a way that's not healthy for us, then we will start to question, maybe that is why I'm creating these energies. You have the Victory card there, so something is coming to mind here where you are realizing or you're seeing something you're doing for the very first time. And whatever it is giving you a major rebirth here. It's making you really understand how you create this energy. All right, so we have the Five of Pentacles coming through, the Temperance card, and the Four of Swords. Yep, definitely going deep inside here. Definitely reviewing yourself. Something has happened. I really feel like something has actually happened to throw you into this energy, because this Five of Pentacles is about being left out in the cold. So either you've had a situation where you have done something that you've done before, and this time you've felt or been able to identify what you've done, because you're changing the energy here big time. You're starting to understand that something you've been doing a certain way is influencing how you move forward. And the Temperance, Four of Swords tells me you're definitely taking time out to balance your energies, to understand how you're doing this. Okay, so we have the Six of Cups with the King of Pentacles. There are two cards there. These cards are still sticking together after using them for a long time too, which is really interesting. Oh, and the Two of Wands. Some of you, this could be a pattern you've got with either a partner, maybe you've understood the way you've been with a partner, or the way you are with partners. There's definitely this feeling it has something to do with your romantic or your partnerships. I feel more romantic here, or loving partnerships. And definitely some sort of childhood influence coming here. But I definitely see you choosing to move in a different direction after taking some time out. So you're choosing now to do things differently. I wonder, okay, Queen of Pentacles coming through here too. So we're definitely talking 8 of Wands and the Devil card. This is something in your communication, something in the way you communicate. Maybe with the 8 of Wands too, it's the energy of moving, because you've got the King and Queen of Pentacles, which sort of signifies a relationship to me. With the Devil energy here, the Devil could represent toxicity. So maybe you're in a toxic relationship or a toxic situation. Maybe you are repeating a pattern of something you've done before in a previous relationship, and you're starting to see it with the Devil energy. Because there's some sort of behavior coming through with this Devil energy that says to me that you are understanding, or you're seeing your ego. Maybe you are seeing the ego of the other person here, and that's being reflected back to you. Let's have a look. All right, so we have the Hermit. So you're taking time out there with the Wheel of Fortune to understand some sort of cycle you've been doing. We have the 7 of Wands with the Victory card. So maybe this sort of makes me feel a little bit like you want to win. It's like you have this energy of always wanting to win something. Maybe once you win it over, then you're happy to let it go. But there's a feeling here that you want to win at something. I do see here the Hierophant and the 4 of Wands, which does represent marriage. And we do have a brand new start here. Oh, now you've got me thinking. You've got me really intrigued here. I want to get to the bottom of what this reading is about. Okay. This is something from your childhood you're repeating. But I know with the Judgment card, you will start to understand what you're doing. There is some sort of energy here of being left out in the cold, and some sort of healing that needs to be done. Oh, the Wheel of Fortune's come back out again. So it is definitely a karmic cycle that you're repeating. We have the Queen of Cups with the 9 of Cups. Okay, after I've sort of talked about the people pleasing, I wonder here with the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is a very loving, very intuitive energy. It represents Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. And I'm wondering here if you are possibly maybe mothering people here, or over accommodating. So that's probably why I've gone into the people pleasing scenario. The Devil energy. Why is the Devil energy here? 7 of Wands again. That's really interesting. So I wonder here whether you get yourselves into some sort of situations. It's almost like you want to win at all costs. That's the energy that's coming through here. But there is an energy of winning and them not wanting what you've won, because there's single energy here. So it's like you tend to fight for something until you've won it, and then you move away. And this 7 of Pentacles sort of tells me that perhaps you need to feel fulfilled by winning. It's really different energy. I'm not going to sit on it for too long though, because I could go in really deep with these. Only because I want to get the energies out to you. Knight of Pentagrams with the Queen of Wands and the World. There's a cycle completing. That's what I want to say to you. So no matter what your energy is here, for some of you it may be about people pleasing. For others of you it's about winning at all costs. Is there a possibility that you cycle things because you need to win and you don't know how to walk away from something that you can't win? But there's a very strong feeling here, really about being submissive, I guess, especially with that Devil card. Maybe it is codependency for some of you. But there's definitely this feeling, for me, the strongest feeling coming through here is that you feel like you need to win something in order to feel good about yourself. But whatever it is, it looks as though you're breaking that cycle. So that's really good, because that's the ultimate. It is ultimately about completing the cycle. All right, let's have a look at what's going on. A smile fills your heart with longing. Through the magnetism of divine love, you merge with another and love becomes an all-embracing thought. By a touch, a word or a glance, love heals, unites, transforms and transfigures all things. This is your season of love, a time of positive transformation, a time of happiness. Maybe something different's happened for you this time. Maybe something very different has happened and you're healing from it this time, rather than going back through the pattern. Here it says, wait, don't rush into it, allow nature to take its course. There's that maybe for some of you then. Maybe you rush relationships rather than allowing them to unfold. It is something that, you know, people do. They want to move things along really quickly. Often I hear people say things like, is this man going to be long term? Am I going to get married? I say, how long have you been seeing them for? Oh, 3 weeks. I'm like, let it unfold. Go with the flow. Just enjoy it. Enjoy every moment. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. But just learn to enjoy it, because you may find later on that you're not interested in them. So, you know, it's a matter of allowing things to unfold. I always say, you know, it takes something like 3 months for a man to fall in love. So it takes 3 months of dating, talking on the phone, whatever else, 3 months. For a woman, it takes 4 months. And to be exact, they have said 88 days for a man and I think 146 days for a woman. So that's how long it takes to fall in love. So I feel like this wait, maybe for some of you, you're used to rushing things or you want things to move quickly. There's a little bit of a warning there. Thank you.